Hey, welcome to Clarksville Vibe the show where we tell the stories about Clarksville, Tennessee, and what makes this place one of the greatest places to live in America. I'm super excited about our episode today. I'm your host, Kevin Kennedy Jr., local pediatric dentist, Clarksville native, and just telling this great message about Clarksville and all the unique and positive things that are making this community a great place to live. Hey, just wanted to send a special shout out to Brad Williams. He stopped me one day just picking up our girls from school and said, hey, I love your podcast, love the content. And so we want to give a shout out to him. It's just been a blessing to hear people out in the community stop me or send me a message saying that you're finding value in this content. So if you would go ahead and share it. I have a feeling that our episode today is going to be shared quite a bit. So go ahead and get that share trigger ready. Let me go ahead and introduce you to our guest. He is the most exciting, full of energy, energetic guy that I know here in Clarksville. He is just making waves all across the nation, frankly, but residing here in Clarksville and leading our Austin Peay Governors football program. When I told my 7-year-old who the guest was going to be, her response today was, "Are you serious?" That's amazing, in the classic second grade way that she would say that. It is Scotty Walden. Hey, man, glad for you to be here.
Kevin, I can't thank you enough for having me on.
Yeah.
Man. We've been talking about this for a long time.
We have, yeah. I told you
awesome.
I had to build a little bit of an audience before I start bringing in the heavy hitters. We threw some big legends up front to kind of get people in, but then I had to build an audience, and here we are now.
Man. Well, I'm thankful, and I love what you're doing. I just want to commend you on getting the Clarksville out there and kind of talk about things that are going on in the community and prominent people. Yeah. I mean, you had Bryce Robinson, one of our quarterbacks, on.
Right. Yeah.
You had Brian Reeves on. It's just been awesome. And, my family and I have, as I said, and this is not – this is 2 years later. I'm still saying it, so you know it's real. Yeah. The Clarksville has been nothing but a home to me and Callie and Luca, our son, and the people in the community has been unbelievable. And obviously meeting you and I'm honored to be in your presence because when I walk in, we work out the same spot, and when we work out, this dude's dusting me, man. I'm like, who is this guy? And we connect. It's all he don't play, man. Do not run against this guy. Don't lift. Don't do anything because
I'm a little competitive.
He's very competitive.
Yes,
very competitive.
Yeah. So when you put numbers on the screen, I'm trying to come out on top.
That's 100% correct, and that is all truth, Kevin. And that's what I love about you.
I can't really help it.
No, you can't, man.
I couldn't really compete on a playing field at a high level, so on a treadmill, it's about the only gifting I got.
It gets real, man. But I am very thankful to be on here today. Thanks for letting me in your home to do this.
Well, I've got a question for you. It's going to show my age and my generation. Okay. Today we are recording on actual National Signing Day, 2023. You're closing up this class. And the question for all the old people who are not connected to the language of today's youth who are entering your school, what is pushing P?
Oh, here we go.
What does that mean, dude? I've got no idea. I mean, I kind of do because I follow enough social media. But where did P come from?
So this is great. I mean, the timing couldn't be better. And I got a great story on this.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this is where I hate to admit this is where the origination of the name came from. So I'm laying in bed. This is probably I think we had just had maybe a recruiting visit early in last year, probably maybe close to a year ago today. It's around that time. Yeah. And I'll never forget one of our GAs. We have a group message with we got a full staff on recruiting one, all stuff. So I'll never forget it. It's a quarterback I coached in college. He's with my GA for a little bit. He texted at 3 a.m. Hey, pushing P. It just hit me. It would be great. And I read it in the morning, and I immediately texted him dude, what's going on, man? Did you have a late night last night? What's wrong, man? What's are you what's
what has affected your mental capacity?
What are you talking about? He's like, Coach, no, you got to hear us out. You got to hear us out on this. And so I wish I could say I came up with it, but man, one of our GAs came up with it, and I was like, where's it come from? But it's from a popular rap song that came out, right? And we verified everything. I went. I'm one of those guys. I don't take things at face value. That's right. I do a deep dive. That's right. So our staff did a deep dive. I did a deep dive. I'm googling Urban Dictionary. That's right. What does P mean? Pushing P. Yeah. I'm like, is this drug related? Is this whatever? We're not messing with that. Right. But basically, it just means hey, whatever is cool and authentic and real, and whatever P is to you.
That's P.
That's P.
Right.
Exactly. I see you with it, man. So like those shoes, that's P.
Yeah.
That clothing line, that's P. Like
Yeah.
and so I was like, we could roll with this,
So
man. And so then we instead of it's supposed to be pushing P like the letter P.
The letter P. Yeah.
Obviously, we went P,
P-E-A-Y.
pushing P-E-A-Y all the way.
Come on.
And the kids ate. Like our first junior day visit last year, I just remember revealing that to the kids. They ate it up. We're like in the middle of the field going, pushing P. Like they're all going crazy. I'm like, this is, I don't know.
Here we go.
The kids love it. Yeah. You know, and so you
used it to your advantage.
We used it to our advantage.
I mean,
I see, I'm so bad. I can't even remember the artist right now. Okay. But like, thank you to that artist who came up with that song. And
thank you for not choosing a different letter.
No doubt.
Could have chosen Q.
Yeah. Q or C.
L. Who
D.
cares? But it was P.
It was P.
And we used it to our advantage.
And we used it to our advantage. And that was, it was great marketing.
Well, that's a great break the ice on the episode. Cause
that's it.
I didn't know what it was at first until I did the deep dive and I was like, where is this coming from? And then it did make sense to me, but I think it's so funny, but that is recruiting these days.
That's recruiting.
Right?
That's recruiting.
You're one of the youngest head coaches across the country, and yet you're still a decade and a half removed from these players and what is important to them and what's trending on their timelines and things like that. So I do want to ask you some questions just about the recruiting process in general, right? Because most of casual college football fans have no idea how much of a job this is.
There's no doubt.
How many resources go into it, how much digital creation in terms of graphics, graphic design, video, social media, the budget that you've got to have to travel all around the country. So I'm going to kind of lead us down a direction and just talk about recruiting process here at Austin Peay at this level. But first question, we got to talk about the class. Tell us about high level, this 23 class. What's your level of excitement and how does it compare to some other classes that you've been able to bring in here?
I am very excited, Kevin, about this class. And that's not just like coach speak. Like I feel very strong about not only the players that we're bringing in, but the people. Yeah. And I think our staff has done an amazing job through this process, which starts, these guys' junior year essentially, sometimes even earlier, and goes all the way to this day. Yes. So that's why it's you see us very excited about it on social media. I'm going to go to Strawberry Alley tonight to talk, at 5:30 to the, to the alumni, to the donors, to the fans about it, because like it's the culmination of all this hard work, right? Yeah. This class, just to, kind of go over it in broad strokes, we are very regional based recruiting wise. I just believe that. Like if I was the head coach at Maine, I believe you got to own the best players in Maine.
That's right.
We're here at Austin Peay in Clarksville. We got to own the best players in the state of Tennessee.
That's right.
And we don't, even though I know that I get, because I'm a Texas guy, it's like, oh, you're going to recruit all Texas guys. No, I'm not. That's 10 hours away.
Yeah, that's right. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal, man. Right. I want people that want to be here.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, we've signed some Texas guys, but those are guys that, they have shown, hey, that's a place I want to be.
That's
it's not I get turned off in the recruiting process and even in the hiring process of people that view this place as, that's a stepping stone. I may use that to catapult. I think eventually this place is going to turn into a destination job. Yes. That's how I view it. Yeah. And I truly believe that we have signed a class full of guys that love this place and see the value in it and want to be here. And so to answer your question about kind of the broad strokes of this class, we're up to about 10 3-star recruits in this class. Which is big time.
So 3-star, for people who don't know the lingo, you get 3, 4, 5-star, and that's at major universities, University of State name, right? University of Tennessee's, University of Texas, Ole Miss, they're pulling star players. When you're talking about pulling players who have star designations at this level of football, these are really, really highly talented, coveted, highly recruited. You have put a lot of energy and effort into selling your program to these kids and having them want to be a part of it. Absolutely. And they're going to be fun to watch.
They're going to be fun to watch. Yeah. and they've replaced needs where, we have, it's a very unique situation this year because, we only graduated 10 guys. We had about 5 or 6 hit the portal, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. We lost 3, key players to Power 5 programs, which is, part of this day and age. Sure. And we'll kind of talk more in detail about that later, I know. But, the deal is, I tell our guys in recruiting, it's unacceptable not to have guys in your back pocket. Mm-hmm. You have to assume that, we are going to lose our best player each year. Not that we want that to happen.
When you're successful,
that's going to happen.
That's going to happen.
Just like your coaches nowadays. It's almost like one and the same.
Yes.
And so while it's a great thing to see coaches go on and, we had 3 coaches this year that are getting $100,000 to $150,000 pay raises. That's changing their family's dynamic.
Great for their family.
Great
right.
for them,
yes.
right? Hard on me, hard on us.
Right.
But guess what? We're going to hire a dynamic staff. We're going to hire guys that do it the right way. Yeah. And we're going to hire people that are, people that other people are going to want to hire when you have success. And that kind of goes to the players too.
That's right.
And so
when you win an ASUN championship,
that's right.
You've got great people in your program, whether it's coaching, GAs, whomever, and they're going to be given opportunities. Right.
Part of it.
It is what it is.
That's part of it.
Just like, at a big school, when you've got great players, they might leave early. They may not stay 4 years.
100%.
There's different things there. Well, do you know how many states are represented in this class? Have you thought about that? Or what states might be represented?
Yeah. So, we have got guys from the state of Texas, obviously Tennessee first, Tennessee to the state of Texas, the state of Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio.
Did I see Nevada? New Mexico.
New Mexico, yeah. So he's originally from
basically
East Texas.
Everything west of Arkansas just gets thrown in. When you're from the South, that's
no doubt.
Whatever. Montana, Wyoming, it does all the same.
Yeah. There's no doubt. It's funny. All. Yeah.
But I guess the point is, I think a lot of people, when you look at Austin Peay football, you have no idea that these are players that sometimes are traveling 10, 12 hours away from their family to move here, to be a part of this program, to help put wins in the column at the end of the year, win championships. That's good. Well, so question, has your recruiting strategy changed at all from the ASUN versus the OVC? Did you have to make changes into what type of players you're looking for, your geographic focus, or did you just say, hey, we were already doing the things that was going to be necessary to win in the ASUN, and we just kept doing them and improved it?
100%. We were more along the lines of that.
Yeah.
Because we were already more of a Southern staff. So I believe that, like, you look at our roster and the key playmakers, mainly those are from Southern states. And then we dip into Ohio, we dip into Indianapolis a little bit. Like we're starting to get up there a little bit, because I've always said, if you could get your skill from the South and your bigs from the North. And I'm like, dude, I'm looking up, I'm like, we're in the perfect location for that.
Absolutely.
And so we started to kind of do that a little bit.
You want the Nebraska linemen.
No doubt. You want those
Ohio guys.
Hard-nosed dudes.
That's right.
Yes, that's exactly right. So, like, we've started to do that a little bit. But I'll be honest, like, our recruiting dynamic is our recruiting dynamic, and our strategy is our strategy. And one thing I'm proud of is, obviously, we're making this move to FBS, in a couple years.
Yeah.
We have recruited at an FBS. So I tell our guys all the time, like, and it's not 100%, because, like, just where we're at, but right now. But if we're not competing with Middle Tennessee State, with, Western the
Kentucky,
MAC, Western Kentucky,
that's right.
These G5 schools, Troy, UAB, if we're not competing with those guys or in a dogfight, those guys, we have a corner that, we're going to sign today that tripped Purdue last weekend, that we battle hand in hand with, that, is signing with us today. Like, if we're not battling some of those schools, then we're wrong. I'm not saying 100%, because there's some players where it's like, we're a little different, that we trust our evaluation in our eyes, right?
Yes.
So, like, there's sometimes where it's like, hey, there's no doubt that this kid is going to fit our system and be a phenomenal player, be an OKG, as we say, our kind of guy. Like, this guy fits. Yeah. I don't care if he's got D2 stuff or he's got, just Chattanooga or just one FCS school. Like, let's go after him, because we believe in him.
Yes.
There's always those cases.
Yes.
So it's never 100%. But we have prided ourselves on recruiting at an FBS level since we've gotten here. And, that's why I'm really excited. Like, after today's signing class, all 5 of the top-rated recruits in Austin Peay State history have come from our staff. And 8 out of the 10 highest-rated recruits in Austin Peay history have come from our staff.
That's cool.
And so I'm really excited about building that brand, and I think that's going to propel us in FBS. But it also speaks to the resources. You can continue to win to it.
Yeah, and the resources are key, and the university as a whole really made a commitment to it before you got here to make football relevant again.
No doubt.
And I've been around here my whole life. I went to school at Austin Peay. I joke and tell people I went to one Austin Peay home game as a student. And that was because I had to, because I was the student body president and I had to be on the field, Right. But the university made a commitment to tear down the old home section and to reinvest in scholarships and to pump money into a coaching budget and a travel budget and a recruiting budget. And we're seeing the fruit of that now of realistically, we changed conferences last year in ASUN and we competed at a high level and got rings.
That's right.
Got
rings.
So
that's right.
That's awesome.
That's exactly right.
So let's talk a little bit about when you bring a kid on an official visit. Number one, like, what's something that you're showing them on campus or in Clarksville that you feel like sells this place of like where they would want to go to college?
Oh, no doubt. Where do you start with that? Because like I say this all the time, Kevin, like every kid that we bring on campus, just about, okay, when they drive up, they're like, man, Coach, they always say this. Either their parents say it or the kid says it. Coach, I didn't know it was like this.
Right.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
They say, I didn't know it was like this.
Well, I can tell you that goes back to 2002 because, my wife Adanya was recruited to play soccer here. She had a couple OVC offers at the time. She was grew up in Knoxville, was playing at Bearden High School there, and was going on trips, and they drove into Clarksville for her Austin Peay official visit. I don't know why, but they decided to turn off on exit 4 and go down Wilma, and they were like, this is not what we expected.
100%.
Just a big deal. And she says what made her sign here was when they passed Olive Garden. Like, it was like she thought, okay, at least there's an Olive Garden here.
We got the breadsticks.
I didn't know that this was here, and I can be a part of it. But Clarksville sold her. Seriously. And people underestimate how cool Clarksville is and what's around downtown. Man. And you think you're coming to this small school that no one's ever heard of if you're coming from a state like New Mexico or Texas or Ohio.
No doubt.
And you get here and you realize the city is amazing.
It's amazing.
And you get to be a part of selling it.
100%.
Yes.
And we have, and that's where like I our staff, we have to do a great job of selling it because we have a lot to sell.
Yes.
Like honestly, the hardest part is like at the end of the visit on Sunday, I'm like, did we get it all in?
Yes.
Because there's so much to sell, so much to talk about. I think that all the time. So we'll bring those, kind of give you like a quick rundown of how we do official visits. From they get here about on Friday around like 5:00. Yeah. And we put them up in our team hotel, which is the Hilton Garden Inn.
Yeah.
So we'll put them up there. We'll bring them over and we'll do a facility tour. And then we'll do a campus tour. Okay. And then the facility tour part in the team room, that's where I'll kind of lay, the vision and the culture of the program. Because my biggest thing, like we're a little different in the sense of I don't believe in putting on a recruiting facade. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people when they first meet me is like, is this dude real? Is this real? Yeah. And like my wife will tell you, yes, unfortunately, it's real. Like I'm sorry, we do. There's a portion I'll get to in a minute with the player panel portion of the visit where the coaches aren't in there. Yeah. It's just the players and they ask. And I so sometimes after the deal, I'll be like, what do they ask you guys? Like one day I was curious. Yeah. I'm like, oh, coach, they all ask, like, is this dude like always this wired up?
Yes.
We're like, 6 a.m. workouts.
That's what everybody asked Gerald. We all asked Gerald and President Licari, like, for real, behind the scenes, like, what is Coach Walden really like?
Sorry, man. Sorry. You found, you're saying
they were asking on ESPN when y'all played Western this year. The commentator was like, oh my goodness, there's Scotty Walden running up and down the sidelines.
That's who we are, man. And so like we pride ourselves on that, right? Because we are who we are.
It's authentic.
It's authentic. And like take it, and my deal is like take it or leave it.
Yes.
Because that's
you need to know
change who I am. Yeah. And you need to know.
Don't drive here 4 or 5 states away and think you're getting something else.
No doubt. And so like I tell them and it's the 4 pillars that we I want to let the parents know and the players know. This is the 4 pillars that we are going to touch our student athletes on, and that's the academic, the athletic, the social, and the spiritual. Those 4 components of their life are going to be touched and hammered and held accountable. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, and like, again, not to go too far away from this OV question, but, I got in this thing for people, like coaching is a calling. Yes. That's the truth. I grew up in a single parent home. My father figure was my high school head football coach. Wow. Like that guy led me to get saved. That guy led me to be a better man. I owe a ton to this game. And so, yes, do I love X's and O's? Do I love football? I could talk all day about that, and I love the game. Yeah, that's it. But I love impacting young men's lives better. Wow. And we have a staff that believes in that as well. So, it's a holistic approach. It's not just about, hey, we're going to recruit this 3-star stud. Hey, we laid it out. I told you we signed 10 3-stars. We laid it out to all of them. Yeah. We're not sugarcoating how we're going to do it. We tell them, you miss an assignment. Yeah, and this is the stuff people don't see behind the scene. You miss an assignment, hey, man, you're waking up at 6 a.m. and pushing boards. I don't care if you got 10 touchdown catches or no touchdown catches. Yeah. We are going to hold you accountable, and you may not like it during the process, but 10 years from now, you're like, man, I'm glad our coaches held us accountable to that.
Yeah, because guess who's not going to care? Your landlord.
100%. Yeah. Your boss. You show up late. We talk about Gov time all the time. Gov time, you're 5 minutes early in your seat, ready to roll at all times. And,
that's just part of your culture.
At the time, they're like, guess what? They're going to be that interview. That's right. They may beat that guy in the next room because, hey, I showed up 5 minutes early.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's cool. Anyway, to get back to the OV deal, I lay that to them. We show them the facilities, which we have a brand new locker room, a brand new nutrition room, a brand new turf field. We have a lot to sell and a lot to show them.
Even just for football.
For football. Yeah. And then when we start getting in the community piece, we take them to different locations. And I love how we do this. We don't just take them to one location, same location every time. We take them to Strawberry Alley, the Clarksville Country Club.
Oh, cool.
Shout out to Sammy Stewart at F&M Bank. Allowed us to utilize his upstairs.
Oh, cool.
So they can see all of Clarksville.
View. Yeah.
That was so impactful because you get downtown, you get that big time feel, especially with F&M Bank Arena going up. We always drive them by F&M Bank Arena, Shelby's Trio that's going up. We take them to, as I said, Strawberry Alley for dinner. We make sure we drive by the Cumberland River. Yeah. There's just so much to show them. And then, of course, they stay at the Hilton Garden Inn, so they're driving down Wilma. Yeah. And so we show them, there's a mall here. There's so they're like this is.
There's a Target, a Best Buy. Yeah. Things that make you feel, if you're from a bigger city, you feel like I can do it here. Yeah. If you're from a smaller city, you're like, this is huge.
Well, that's the beauty. That's the beauty. And we can recruit kids and we're going to talk about one of them, a 3-star kid that's from a 1A high school in West Tennessee.
Yeah, right.
And then we can recruit the kid from Dallas, Texas.
That's right.
Because it's like, this is not too big of a town, but it ain't too small.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like the perfect blend, for college kids from all levels and all populations. And so I think we do a great job. But like I said, the biggest question to me, man, at the end of on Sundays is like, dude, did we show them?
Did we finish?
Yeah, because man, there's so much to sell here in Clarksville.
Yeah. And when you're having these touch points all around the country, you're dealing with all these types of kids. Like, not only are they coming here, but you're going to see them once or twice or 3 times. At some point, really high priority kids for you. You're going in their home, right?
Absolutely.
What was the furthest you traveled this year?
Ooh, let's see. I'm trying to think. Was it? Let's see. I was in Atlanta several times. Yeah. I think the furthest our staff went was probably in the Carolinas.
Wow.
We went out to the Carolinas.
Which is still a pretty good haul.
Which is a good
So when
haul.
you send your staff out, are they going out individually? Or you send them out in pairs like the apostles? How are you doing this?
No doubt. You start out individually, and then what happens is when we get to obviously this part of the recruitment process, we'll start to go in pairs where the defensive coordinator, we're going to see a safety. Yeah. The defensive coordinator and the position coach will go, and then I'll go with them.
Okay.
And so we'll not only go to the school, but we'll go to the home.
Yeah.
I mean, and heck, with the transfer portal, we may go on campus some. I mean,
that's hilarious.
It's weird.
That's where they're living.
That's
right.
That's part of it.
That is part of it.
They get in the portal. Yeah. It's like we've had some coaches that hey, go meet a kid for lunch at the cafeteria.
So as you're prepping for a visit, you're going out to see a kid. What's the process? I've always wondered this. What's the process like of trying to get to know the kid and figure out what's important for them? Who's the decision maker in their family? Is it grandma? Is it the kid?
Yes.
Is it dad? How do you try to start to get those nuggets of information where you can kind of customize your plan for how you're going to sell him on Clarksville?
Yeah, you got obviously you start with the young man, but then I always say you got to get to all the branches that are connected to him.
Yeah.
So whether that's number one, and in that conversation with him, you got to find out who's important to him, who's he talk about a lot, and what is he looking for? I always love to ask that question. Hey, like Kevin, what are you looking for in the school you choose? And they'll
just let them talk.
And let them talk. And they'll tell you. And even if they can't verbalize it 100% yet, you can get a good depiction of what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Then we talk to the high school counselors, the coach. I'm old school in the approach of we are going to talk to the head football coach. We are not going to keep that. Nowadays, with Twitter and social media, it's really easy to keep them out of the loop.
Yeah.
You can just go straight to the kid because you have full access to DMs, to cell phones.
Right.
But I think it's very important. I think we gain an advantage on people when we go through the proper channels because we learn some information that other schools may not know about.
Sure.
I can't tell you how many times we ran into that. But once we dive in that process, we identify who the champion is. That's what we call it.
Okay.
The champion is the decision maker.
That's cool.
So the champion is in the staff meetings, our staff knows I'm going to ask who's the champion is and why. Yeah. And then what's important to the kid and why.
Yeah.
And then that helps us devise a plan of how we are going to, orchestrate the visit, orchestrate our talks, what's important to him, and show him what we have to offer, and show him that. So like, that's identifying the champion is probably the most important thing we do. Because that's the person that's going to have, that kid's ear at the end of the process, and that's the person the kid's going to listen to. And so I think the earlier you identify that, and the earlier you develop a relationship with that person, a genuine relationship,
super key,
goes a long way.
Goes a long way because the process is long.
It's a long process, very long process.
So transfer portal is a big talk in college football now. It's affecting everyone, every school. Affects you. I don't know if it's more or less, but it just in different ways, right? And so just to summarize for people, what that means is there's a little bit of an element where players can kind of have a one-time transfer to another school, either up a level, down a level, or whatever. Where you are at Austin Peay, what's been the biggest challenge for you portal-wise in expecting that, anticipating what's going to come, and then both taking advantage of an opportunity that you didn't expect was going to be there? No doubt.
It's a double-edged sword that we're playing with. And there are some distinct challenges with the portal at our level, because when a young man has, a lot of success, he could love it here. Like I'll tell you, we had 3 guys go Power 5, one to Arizona State, one to Texas Tech, and one to Indiana after the season. All 3 of those guys, when you sit down and have a conversation with them and their families, when this was coming up, like, there's no animosity. There's no like, man, I hate it here, I'm trying to go. And I'm not saying like for my own deal. Like I have dealt with players that do believe like man, this place just ain't for me. Fair. Okay, go do what you got to do.
Good luck to you.
But I'd say 98% of the guys I deal with is like, man, I love this place. Like everything, coach, love what you're doing. Love it. Like I want to play Power 5 football.
And I just want to have an opportunity.
I want to play at that higher level. And what we are working towards is players understanding this is the big time, making the big time where you're at. And there can be a player drafted out of Austin Peay. We have all 32 NFL scouts come through. The Jaguars and the Falcons were at our place last Monday measuring our kids. And I'm actually, going to have and my deal is, if you don't address it and educate, we need to be in the education business with these players, with the portal, not in just a pure bias way. And I know it's my platform. It's a little harder because, of course, my kids in my locker room are going to think, well, of course he's going to say this. He wants me to stay. And no doubt I want them all to stay. But we are going to do a thing this offseason where we educate our guys on statistics, because it's not so glamorous like everybody thinks. Like that's just that's the truth.
You're just now starting to get this data. As 1,200 players enter the portal this season, and there's about, 300 of them that didn't find a home, or 100%. Whatever that number is, right? And you think that there might be greener pasture, and it's not.
It's tough.
Or you found this player X found a new home and made this transition. And didn't even get on the field.
Well, and that's what we're battling is like, there's an education, and I'm going to, I was fortunate when I was at Southern Miss to have 3 NFL guys in my receiver room.
Oh, wow.
So one's about to play for a Super Bowl, Quez Watkins, and with the Eagles, and then you've got Tim Jones with the Jaguars, DeMichael Harris with the Indianapolis Colts. And those guys were, phenomenal players. So I got to develop relationships with a lot of NFL scouts. So I'm going to bring in, 3 to 4 scouts this offseason to talk to our team about what they're looking for, because the common theme, I've talked to all of them, and I'm like, look, tell me if I'm seeing this wrong. It ain't about the logo. It's about the production. So if you are at Austin Peay and you are the guy producing All-American, All-Conference, you're going to have a shot. I mean, we had 2 guys last year, one get a shot with the Ravens and the Saints, one get a shot with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wow. The opportunities are there. What you do with them, hey, it's up to you, and it's up to the fit and all that. So there's a lot of factors in it, right? So no one can tell me that you can't make it to the NFL from Austin Peay. That is ludicrous. Wow. You can make it to the NFL from Austin Peay. And to be transparent with you, I tell our guys all the time, I'm not looking for the guy that says, hey, I want to go to you know what, I love it here, but I'm going to go somewhere else because I can make it to the NFL from there. I'm looking for the line chaser, as we talk about. We talk about chasing the line in our program, the trendsetter that says, hey, I want to be the first guy drafted out of Austin Peay in a long while. We've had guys drafted back in the 80s, stuff like that.
Well, DJ Montgomery played for Will Healy and playing for the Browns or somebody else. So it's doable.
It's doable, man. Absolutely.
I mean, I love that you're focusing on that and you're helping educate. We were chatting before. In reality, football and a football program is preparation for life. It's a microcosm of what these young men are going to face. And every young man at some course in their life is going to have multiple job offers, and you've got to consider, what are the pros, cons? What can I do from this? Can I achieve the things that I want to from this offer?
That's right.
Is the salary higher here, but what's the cost of that to me? You know, maybe I have to travel more or do this. These are big decisions that they're making. And ultimately, when you're preparing them for life, I feel like you're giving them the best opportunity possible to at least make the great decision.
Yeah.
So when like I'm thinking behind the scenes here, like let's think your staff, like player personnel. Is someone logging onto the portal every day and seeing who's coming in, and you're like, oh, there's a linebacker out of an SEC school that just entered today. Yeah, let's contact him.
Yeah, is that
what happens?
We have a general manager that he and I work hand in hand with from a roster management standpoint, which is the key today. In today's game. It's always been important, but it's more vital than ever, because you have to, again, not to think in a negative way, but you have to assume that your best players are going to leave you every year. Like you just have to work in that mindset of, hey, I better have. That's why I tell our staff, you better have. You can't sit there anymore and say, well, we're not signing a receiver this year because I've got so many.
We got locked.
No. You better have 5 in your back pocket out of the portal.
That's right.
That are ready to go. So and as I said earlier, it's a double-edged sword. We do have a staff devoted to that, to just watching the portal and contacting guys, making initial offers, because we always are looking to get better. Like this class we just talked about, like we have a really good team coming back next year. And I know we're going to talk about that later. Like there's a lot of returning pieces in production to this team that are exciting for Governors fans for next year. But I tell those guys all the time, like, we're going to try to out recruit you. And like, that's not out of a bad way. It's like, we've always got to try to get better, but if I've recruited the right guys, they know
they welcome it.
The mindset is like, hey, coach should be recruiting my backups.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. Okay, coach. Yeah. Go try to find another one of me.
That's right.
And I love that. Right. And so we're getting better. But to answer your question, that's kind of the part of the other side of the double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
We may lose some players, but we can sure go gain some players.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been able to do. Is you look at our class right now, we lost 2 linebackers. Well, we just replaced them with 2 linebackers that I believe are very talented. We lost a couple of safeties. We just had two young men transfer that are one played at Mount Juliet High School and was an all-conference, all-American safety at Princeton, and we're bringing him back home. And now we've got a young man from Brentwood Academy, won a state championship, went up to Wofford, and was a starter there, and now he's coming back home, right? And then we got Benji Johnson from East Texas, who was at the University of New Mexico, played as a freshman, and now, so that fast, we can go replenish. Here's the deal, though. You have to make sure that you are intentional with who you pull out of that portal, because you got to know everything. That's why, like, we don't take a guy unless we have about a 30-question questionnaire that has to get filled out before every guy can get accepted for our program. Like, because we're going to know everything about them and make sure that, hey, this is the reason why the guy left. This, that, the other. Because you can't just go in there and go blind.
Yes.
And the other part is, I think people go too far one way or the other. Like when you begin to lose kids, it's very tempting to say, you know what, we're not going to recruit high school anymore. We're going to recruit all portal kids. But to me, what helped lead us to a championship last year is the fact that we had a great core of players from winning high school programs that when those transfers came in, they were like, hey, man, respect where you were, but this is how we do it here at Austin Peay. We had guys from Mississippi State, guys from, you name it, from big-time programs, and those guys were like, hey, look, man, respect you, but like you're going to have to buy into how we do things. That's why we won a championship. And those guys were like, oh man, there's structure here. There's culture here. But if you just recruit nothing but portal guys, not that all portal guys are bad, but they're all coming for different reasons and from different schools. They don't have pride in Austin Peay. And we
they've got to learn your culture. They've got to learn how to receive your coaching. What's the they got to know what Gov time is, because that may not have been the case wherever they're coming from.
100%.
But it's interesting that you mentioned guys that are maybe from local programs in high school like Mount Juliet or Brentwood Academy that maybe traveled out of state, right? And a lot of college kids realize, oh, this ain't as easy as maybe I thought it was.
Seriously.
Get back for Thanksgiving and Christmas and things like that. And, they look at Austin Peay and think, A-Sun champs, competing for the playoffs every year now. I'm like, this is big time football. And I've got a chance, and I'm going to, have an opportunity to compete and play. So this could be a good opportunity for me. So it sounds like you're taking advantage of it pretty well.
I think that's huge. The young man that's from Brentwood Academy actually came on an OV here his senior year, which is like in 2000. I don't know, 15 or 16 or something like that, and was recruited by that staff.
Yeah.
And came on an OV, and then came on an OV, last week, and was like, Coach, just in 5 or 6 years, this place has totally changed. They didn't have any of this. Like the locker room, they're all blown away. They're like, used to be wooden lockers and a tile floor, and now this is an FBS locker room. And he's like, dude, I want to come back home and play here. That's what you're.
That's big time.
And so we do a good job of getting that. And then like I said, and you and I talked about this before we went on air, but like the other side that we battled on, that people see, and it's not publicized as much. It's publicized with the big schools.
Yes.
But like we even battled it here. I mean, we had a guy, get offered 6 figures to go to another school. I mean, there's like that. It happens.
Is what it is. Yeah.
It is what it.
Yes.
That happens.
It's just the reality.
It's the reality of it.
The college football market and the revenue generation that's possible.
Absolutely.
At some schools, and the investment that they can make at different levels, and Austin Peay is making every effort from the top down to continue to grow its football brand.
No question.
But it doesn't naturally have the budget that another school might.
No doubt. And I'll say this too, Kevin. Like everybody is dealing with it.
Sure.
You look at it's funny. Like it makes you. It made me upset at the time. But it's like if you go look at our like players like Twitter, right? Mm-hmm. And you look at the people that are following, you'll see coaches from all across the country, college coaches, following our guys.
Yeah.
Like but again, that does upset me. But like we had a young man, Cam Thomas, return a punt and a kickoff for a touchdown. All of a sudden. Yeah. Michigan State analyst is following him. And it's like, okay, like there's guys at that level trained to watch our guys. But that's part of the game. But my deal is like you can either, and again, we're going to protect our roster. Don't get me wrong. But you can either sit there and sulk in it, or you can, hey, embrace it and say, hey, this is how we better attack this, and understand that like, we better be recruiting always and never get satisfied, because at any time somebody could leave. And it doesn't mean it's always going to happen. Like you look this year, like, the quality of players we lost, those 3 Power 5 guys, really good players.
Yeah, right.
But, people are like, well, you can't recruit high school anymore. Yeah, you can't. Like, we still have, you better. Yeah. Yes, we still have about 70 to 80% of our roster from those first 2 classes. And I think that's very important. But, the part of, adaptation, like you look at, I look at Georgia, right? Like people don't, I don't know if people have they haven't talked about this as much as I thought they would be, but like Georgia just won back-to-back national championships, guys, like back-to-back, right? We all well know good Georgia.
That's right.
All right. They had, the last time I looked, I don't know what the final number would be in. They had 10 guys in the portal.
Yeah.
After
that.
Yeah. After they just won their second championship. Yeah. And one of them went to Alabama to be a linebacker. It's like it's happening everywhere. And I'll tell you this without getting too in detail of who it was. There was a receiver at the FCS level who played for a national championship this year, a player, and he got in the portal after they won their semifinal game to go to the national championship. And I, out of I thought he was a good player, but out of curiosity, I was like, hey, man, like, what's up? Like, are you playing for the national championship still? Like, you just got in the portal after the semifinal game, And he's like, no, I'm going to take my OVs, to wherever. And I'm like, you're not going to play in the national championship game? So like it's just
I'm opting out.
I'm opting out. I'm like, look, you can take my left arm if it meant me playing a national championship game. But like it's just. But my point is, and I'm not saying he's a bad kid. I'm just saying that's the new
perspective.
It's the new perspective. Is what it is. That's exactly right, and that's what we're getting into. And we have to, again, we have to educate kids. I think we still have to be adults and leaders and slow kids down. But also we have to, in a sense, embrace this side of college football, because it's here to stay. Yeah. And so to stay ahead of the curve, as opposed to sulking and stuff, what are you doing to get ahead of the curve and get an edge? And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, I did want to spotlight a kid or two that has signed and is exciting. You've really got a talented backfield coming from in-state high schools, right? 2 kids. One is from McKenzie that you mentioned before, Taylor, and then Malachi Dowell, right? Yes. So tell us a little bit about those 2. Just somebody that, our local community might recognize their name when they start running through the end zone and having fireworks shot off.
Kez Taylor, just the state champion at McKenzie, undefeated. I mean, led those guys. We've been recruiting him for a long time. Yeah. And this kid started having. You can go back and look at his offers. He had offers from everywhere. Tennessee at the end really made a push there, like that with a kind of some NIL stuff, and really made a push on him. But man, he stayed true. Sandy and Spiro, his parents, have been unbelievable in the process. Wow. Speed. I mean, the young man is. Oh my gosh! Like when he sees a hole, it ain't a first down, it's a touchdown. I mean, he moves different.
Yes.
I just think, and he still has so much room to grow, you know, with the resources. We're going to feed him 3 meals a day. We've got a nutrition room. We spend over $5,000 a week in our nutrition room.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to benefit from that. Yeah. He's going to benefit. We have a full-time sports psychologist, a nutritionist now. He's going to benefit from those things.
Absolutely.
And I think the sky's the limit for how good he can be. But he has unbelievable lethal speed, can take it to the house. He can catch the ball in the backfield, and is a state champion.
Yeah.
The thing that I noticed about him, though, because there's a lot, as you know, there's a lot of really good players out there.
Yeah.
Like, we could turn the tape on and say, oh, there's a great player. There's a great player. And I get this question all the time in, like, our recruiting process. Like, how do you discern, okay, separate him from him?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's where it comes back into knowing the kid, right? Because we can recruit the film all we want, but we better know the person. And the other thing that we do, I think, is unique is, like, we sit around as a whole staff, and the whole staff is going to watch the running backs, the DBs, the linebackers. So the offensive coaches are watching the defensive players, the defensive coach.
Like, oh, that's a bad dude.
Exactly. I'll ask.
I don't want to coach against him.
There it is. There it is. I'll ask the D coordinator all the time, like, hey, like, do you want to defend this guy? And they're like, nope. And sometimes I'll be like, yeah, coach, he don't scare me. Oh, okay, that's a good perspective.
Fair enough.
So I change it. But, like, you know, Kez obviously scared everybody in the room.
Yes.
But the thing that, to me, separated him from everybody else, not just the 3 stars, all that stuff, was this guy truly hates to lose.
Love it.
Like, hates to lose. Like, we're on the official visit, and we're at F&M Bank Arena, or F&M Bank, the F&M Bank at the top floor, and we're eating dinner on Saturday night, and we're sitting there talking. I know he's on his phone a lot, and I'm like, man, this is a turnoff, man. This kid's on his phone a lot. What is he doing? Yeah. But then I look over, and the dude is watching his basketball game from Tuesday night, watching the film of him playing basketball. And I'm like, bro, are you watching the game? Like, are you correcting yourself? He's like, yeah, I just always got to go back and watch the tape. And I'm like, I freaking love this kid. I'm like, I'm all in, dude. Like, let's go right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of competitor.
That's a sign. Yes. Those are the nuggets you can't get from a distance. You gotta be around them. You know, and it's like, is it the best time for you to be watching your film? Probably not. But is that a reality of like, he's a high competitor
100%.
And he's going to give you everything, and he hates to lose.
And
that's who you want on your field.
And he missed a basketball game that Friday night to come to our OV.
Yeah.
And you could tell it, like, he was
bothered him.
It bothered him. He was excited to be here, but it bothered him because, and then his parents were trying to tell him, well, hey, if we lose, we're still tied for first. He's like, I don't want to be tied for first. And I'm like, bro, I'm with you. It's like, last year we shared a conference championship. I don't want to share it anymore. No. You know what I mean? That's the next step. Like, it's all about leveling up every day. And, like, I love this kid. But Govs fans need to know about him. I mean, Kez, you know, is
somebody to keep an eye on.
He's dynamic now. He is special. Special player. He will be one of the highest rated recruits in Austin Peay history. High 3-star recruit.
That's nice. Yeah, cool. Well, let's talk about the program a little bit. Just high level insights, what to expect for next year. So one thing I wanted to ask you from last season, did you have a favorite moment of the season previous? You know, one that just sticks out to you.
Man, there were so many. It was such a memorable year, man. It was really a special year with a special group of kids. I would say there's probably just, when you ask that question, I'm going to go with the first 2 things that hit my brain. The first thing is, we divide our calendar into 5 phases. Yeah. So everybody sees the end result, right? Okay. They see in the season, they see the record. They see us on Saturday. Right. Nobody sees us now when we're grinding behind the closed doors. Everybody sees the recruits we signed today. Yeah. Nobody sees the hard work put in. So I'm going to give you one that comes from phase 2. So phase 1 for us is winter conditioning. We're pounding the weights. We don't run. Like, we don't even let our guys run. It's literally, you have to eat a 45-pound plate. That's literally what you're doing. Yeah. So that's what our guys are doing now. Phase 2 is what we call boot camp, and that's where we get after it. We do some campus tours. If anybody wants to drive through campus 6 a.m. on, during phase 2, you're going to see a bunch of football players running around campus doing some crazy stuff, getting better. And then phase 3 is spring ball. Phase 4 is the summer, and phase 5 is the season. So phase 2, I'll never forget this. It was probably 25, 23 degrees, and it's raining.
A day like today.
It's a day like today, my friend. And it is 6 a.m. And I distinctly remember there was, and this is, or keep in mind now, this is a part of our area in our program where a time in our program where we are really concentrated on shifting the culture. You know, from year 1 to year 2, I really felt like that was paramount, and there was some guys that had to go. There were some things that needed to be established. Like this is how we're going to do things, and you better get used to it. All right. Yeah. And therefore, this was one of them, is working really hard through tough scenarios. We were not good at that. Like
that's right.
When you don't want to do it, going and making it great. And so I'll never forget, we had 3 or 4 guys come to me before the workout, and they literally were like, Coach, we're really going to go outside today and do this outside. And I distinctly remember in that moment saying, like, this is a defining moment right here. Like, we give into this and we go inside and make it all easy, or we go outside and we push through something hard together. I'm like, no, guys, we're going outside. Yeah. Like, we're going outside. I was like, y'all ain't got to go.
It was a defining moment.
Y'all ain't got to go, but we're going outside because I'm done being average. I'm done. Wow. We're gonna take this to a new level of toughness. And they didn't like it, whatever. But here's what's crazy. We went out there and had the absolute best workout that we've ever had in my time here at Austin Peay. I mean, crushed it. They got to a point where they started embracing it. The leadership started taking over through something hard, through the freezing rain, through all that. And so then we come up at the end of the workout, and it just hit me. It was all natural, man. I just started asking. I was like, you guys better figure out your ring size right now. Everybody, I want to know tomorrow.
Right.
And it was no one planned this, nothing. I just got in front of the team. It just hit me like God just put it on my heart. I was like, look, I'm asking all you got. What's your ring size? You better tell me. I'm asking everyone in this program tomorrow. You're going to write it down with our DFO. Write down your ring size. I'm telling you what my ring size is, and I'm going to ask. If you don't tell me your ring size, we're all up, down.
That's right.
I want to know your ring size. You speak it in existence right now. And I'll never forget that. I came in there the next day, and I started picking guys out. Tell me your ring size. 8.5, coach. Tell me your ring size. 9.5, coach. I was like, hey, mine's 10.5. Y'all good? Everybody got mine?
Yes.
Coach Walden's 10.5. All right. Coach, and I didn't even ask Coach. I'd be like, hey, Coach, what's your ring size? Coach, 11. Coach, we're going through. We wrote them all down.
Big time.
Spoke it in existence. Yeah. And I'll never forget the players saying, we're going to, you could see the flip. Yeah. And it's like, we're going to do this.
Well, it's funny you mentioned a flip, and I'm going to steal your thunder. My favorite moment from last season was in phase 5, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where you tell this story in phase 2, and I'm thinking this is a moment in phase 5 that I'll never forget as a fan. Eastern Kentucky.
Oh, man, absolutely.
First half, it's just a mess.
No doubt.
Right? And second half, I'm going to let you tell the story. But I feel like you sharing what just happened in phase 2 of this realization that, I don't care what y'all are doing, but this is about to change, and this is about to be the 100%. Way that it is. The turnaround from how the team played and how the leaders stepped up. And, DeLillo, who's the quarterback, puts this entire team on his back and plays a whole different game in the second half than 100%. He did in the first.
Yep.
I mean, it's a game I'm thinking as a coach, probably the game of a lifetime, one of those games of a lifetime that you'll remember for a long time because you go in the locker room and you have this question from leadership, is this really how it's going to go? And no.
Yeah.
We're building on the momentum that we had back in February in phase 2.
Yes.
And that was a defining moment, and it's gonna come through right now.
No, Kevin, you're absolutely right. That was the second moment.
Yes.
Nice. That was what I was getting to, because that's 100%. When we went in there at halftime, it was a totally different.
Do you remember the score going in at halftime?
20-3.
20-3. Down 20-3.
Yeah, we're down 23. We come back
against
and win
a very good team.
Yeah, top 25 team. Yeah, the top 25, and I'll say this in the first half, I'm like, man, these guys are big, they're physical, they're whooping our tail.
Yeah.
And when you went into the locker room at halftime, though, it was such a different feel from any other team I'd been a part of. You felt like this is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It was like we were all making a choice, like this is not gonna be the outcome of this game.
Yeah.
And you heard coaches. I distinctly remember this. You heard coaches. You heard players as we kind of get in our pods. We make adjustments as a staff,
right?
And then we disperse out to our players, call it up, we get back out there. And we're in those pods, and I'll never forget hearing multiple coaches and players saying, we are not losing this game. Not in a panic way,
no.
But no, it's not happening.
Right.
We ain't losing
What's
this
your
game.
ring size?
What's your ring size?
Moment. Yes.
It's that moment.
Yeah.
And it was a decision that was made, just like we made the decision to go out in that freezing rain and pull sleds and run hills and do mat drills and do the fourth quarter drill that we do, all that. They made the decision in that locker room, like, no. This is not how it's going to go down. And that was fun to watch because it was sheer will.
Yeah.
It was will. It wasn't play calling. It wasn't nothing. It was sheer will. Guys not being denied. Yeah. And it was, it dang near brings tears to my eyes because as a coach, like that's the ones you live for, man. And then
I'm sure.
And then again, to throw a quick third one into that Kennesaw State game to kind of solidify the conference championship, like because they were picked to win the league. Yeah. We were picked to finish 5th. I kind of view us as the forgotten ones, the underdogs, the people that everybody forgets about, and nobody gave us a chance. Oh, y'all lost all these guys, blah blah blah. you're picked 5th out of 6 teams in the league. And then we go into the team that was picked number 1, and we beat them at their own game. And we out-physicaled them, we out-toughed them, and like our kids played harder, more physical, more violent, and they wanted it. And I just remember coming off that field feeling like, man, this is what it's about, man. Like, and we're turning a corner, and now the challenge is to take that to a new and entire level.
That's right. Yeah, going to the playoffs this year.
You're dang right.
It's done.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I love it.
We're going to speak that in existence.
Who will some Austin Peay fans remember from last season that's returning this year that you feel like are some leaders on the team right now?
Phenomenal question. And before I get there, I'd be remiss if I didn't do this. Going back to that Marquez Taylor question, I did a bad job of not getting to Malachi Dowell because I can't leave this podcast without talking about him, because Governors fans need to know about Malachi Dowell. So as you're bringing up personnel,
that's right. Yeah.
Malachi Dowell is the other young man that we signed from White County.
I have to tell you a funny story about Malachi Dowell.
I want to hear it.
Tell it right now.
I need to hear it.
So
Let's hear it.
I'm on this volquest.com, right, which is for Tennessee fans, right? It's a message board, right? I love college football recruiting. Like, I get into it. It's my hobby, right? I don't have any other hobbies. That's my hobby.
I love it.
Well, so somebody's like, hey, y'all seen this kid? Is it Sparta?
Sparta.
This is like in the summer. They're like, have y'all seen this kid? No. Fall rolls around. He's throwing up like Madden type numbers, right? Video game numbers. And so I get to the point where I'm like, Scotty needs to know about this kid. Does Scotty know about this kid? I should tell Scotty about this kid. So like I go and find him on Twitter, and I like watch his how I'm like, he's amazing. I got to see this kid. And I hit like DM, and I pull it up, and I'm like about to DM you. I'm like, have you seen this kid out of Sparta? And then I'm like, Kevin, do not embarrass yourself right now. Like, this guy is a professional, and you are a dentist. Do not hit send and embarrass yourself. Just let it be and let the process play out. And then, like last week, I see that he signed. I'm like, that's the kid. I knew it. I knew he should go to Austin Peay.
Great minds think alike, man. For the future reference, send me the kid.
I ain't doing it.
Send me the kid.
You already found him as a sophomore.
Send me
probably.
the kid. Because if I hadn't assigned him and you just told me that, I'd be like, bro, like, come on, what the heck, man? No, but like, look, great minds think alike. I mean, here's the deal with Malachi, brother. You can't deny production. Yeah. So to throw some stats here, he's, again, I'm about 90% certain on this, but the leading rusher in the state of Tennessee on that. But 10.7 yards a carry. Okay. Keep in mind, took his team to the playoffs. Keep in mind, everybody knew that the ball is going to him. And so when you watch film, there's an 8-man box, sometimes a 9-man box. And this kid's vision and balance, and he's done it for 2 years. Yeah. He is unbelievable with the ball in his hands. Yeah. And so my deal is like, man, we're going to find a way to get the ball in this kid's hands in a multitude of ways. He's probably going to end up playing that gov back spot for us, which is like our hybrid slot and running back. Yeah. So we can get him more touches in multiple ways. But like and here's the deal about him too. His demeanor, he is so mentally tough and so focused. Yeah. Like he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He's just one of those kids that just like, I think, I don't want to crown him with his nickname yet, but he reminds me of I mentioned earlier a kid named Tim Jones that plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, played for me at Southern Miss. Best receiver I've coached. Quez Watkins is the best athlete I've ever coached. Tim is the best receiver I've ever coached. But I used to call Tim the silent assassin because wouldn't say boo, wouldn't say a word. But like this dude all of a sudden is just, I'm like, whoa, hey, Tim. Like, sometimes I forget he's in the room. He's so quiet. Malachi's the same way. Yeah. But that kid is going to show up every day and grind and work and like Governors fans remember that name. You know. So going back to your original question about
returning players,
captains. Start out on the offensive side. Obviously, Mike DeLillo, our quarterback, is coming back. He's got one more last hoorah.
Good for him. Yeah.
And to remind Governors fans about this, we did not get him till June last year. Okay. So understand this is his first time going through a full offseason with his receivers. Yeah, right. So we got him in June and had to teach him the offense and go at it and you know what I mean? And so like now he's got a full year. So I'm excited about that. And then bounce into the running back room, C.J. Evans, Javon Jackson, who I know is a favorite there. We've got some. Yeah,
my 7-year-old, she loves C.J. Evans Jr. I think it's the way the PA announcer announces his name, a touchdown. She walks around her house going, C.J. Evans Jr.
I love it. I'm going to start calling him around that field. Junior. Right. Yeah. Say, you know what I mean? But he's dynamic. And Javon Jackson, who was a 3-star running back out of North Alabama, is coming back, and he had a really breakout freshman year. I'm excited. At tight end, who, I think that has all the potential in the world. Jordan Goko, 6'7", 240-pound tight end who can catch it, he can block. Really excited. We returned all 5 starting offensive linemen.
Unbelievable.
So that is going to be key. Yeah. We have some very dynamic physical O-linemen up front. I'm very excited about, including Chandler Curtin, who's a freshman All-American, Harry Wilkes at left guard, Jalen Armstrong at center, Isaiah Wright at left tackle, and Brendan Smith at right tackle. Those 5 are really as good as they played last year. I mean, gave up 0 sacks to Alabama. I was really impressed. Them coming back after having another offseason is going to be good. And then at receiver, from Trey Goodman coming back, James Burns, who was our leading receiver coming back from last year, speed demon. Now here's another stat for you. We got James Burns in July last year.
So he's rocked.
So
he's ready to go.
Yeah, we getting him a whole offseason in our system and our culture, is going to be unbelievable for him to put on even more mass and more speed, which he's already extremely fast. Yeah. But Trey Goodman, and then you start to transition over, to Kellen Stewart's another receiver that comes to mind who really came on late last year. I thought against North Alabama, had a big time touchdown. And then you start transitioning to the defensive side of the ball. The guys up front on the D line, Javon Young and Kwame Sutton, are just 2 staples that.
Kwame Sutton's been around.
Oh man, hey,
super productive.
He's the old head, brother. He's the old head that he is. I've been really impressed with their leadership. Up front, and Javion McCray, who we got as a transfer from East Carolina, sustained an injury last year. He'll be back. He was beginning to have a very dominant season at nose guard. So he'll replace Ray Horton. And then you go to the linebacker core, where you got Doc Rogan, who's been a staple. Very productive player. And then getting to the secondary, D Ford. I've been so impressed with D Ford. All-American corner from last year, transferred from Youngstown State. Our first year played in a kind of rotational role, and that second year, this championship year, really came on and had that All-American campaign. It's funny. It's like the perfect storm with him. He's one of the best man-to-man cover guys I've ever been around. Yeah. But he's 5'7", so the quarterbacks all think they can pick on him. Yeah. So he gets a lot of balls thrown his way. So it's like, man, what corner doesn't love that? Where the quarterback's trying to throw his way.
No, you can't
do this. No. He's very impressive.
I love that.
So I'm excited about him. And then Corey Chapman, who I thought came on as safety last year and really, really did a great job. He's going to provide.
I heard he's a funny guy.
He's maybe the funniest guy on the team.
That's what
hilarious.
I heard.
Dude is hilarious, man. Awesome. So awesome. And then don't forget about our kicker, Maddox Trujillo, who's one of a kind. Automatics, baby. Yeah. Automatics. And Riley Stevens, who, I think deserves as much pub. He had 38 touchbacks last year on kickoff. And so we've got a slew of guys coming back. I'm really excited about this team this year.
Fun time. All right. I'm going to give you one chance. You gotta give a shout out to the MVP of the whole program, Callie. She supports you through and through. Man. Makes everything happen while you're doing all those things. We can't talk about the program, and you not bring her up because everybody knows she's making it happen as much as you are.
No, that's 100%. What Callie and I have been together since high school, and Lord, I don't know how she stuck with me this long, man. She is.
Neither do we.
I don't either, bro. I question it every. Right. I'm like, man, but she is a saint. Like, I'm lucky to have the best wife in the world. Like the time. A lot of times she's a single parent. Raising Luca, and he's getting older now, and she is just a trooper. Even things that I think people don't realize that we do, like on Friday nights, we invite all the recruits, part of the OV, all the recruits' parents come to our house. Yeah. And we just open our home up and we just hang out. Yeah. And Callie, like the preparation. Yeah.
It sounds cool for us. When you tell your wife that random people are coming to your house, you get the look. Like all of a sudden you get start spraying and you get dust that you didn't know was there. And really not important, but you get that. You're like,
you get it.
Yeah.
and you get the look, especially when you forget to tell her it's on Friday and I tell her on Wednesday, and you get the look.
I'd be happy to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shout out Callie.
Yeah,
we love you.
Amazing.
You're the MVP.
I love you, babe. You're the best.
Thanks for letting your husband loose on our community. I'm gonna give you the lightning round. Some fast questions here. here. Some of them are fun.
I like
All
tempo,
right,
man.
so
I like tempo.
Recruiting tempo. What's on your snack list when you're packing the car, ready to travel?
Ooh, that's a great one, man. I've gotten into the Belvita snacks.
Oh, the little cracker things.
The little cracker things, man.
Nice.
The Belvita things are off the chain. I gotta have an energy drink.
Yeah.
I've been. I don't know why I haven't.
I can't believe that you got to have anything for energy.
Yeah. Well, when you want to turn it up a notch with the recruits, you got to. But like, I don't know why I haven't done this, man. But like, I usually just buy one. Well, I've been buying two, so that later on I got another one.
That's right.
I mean, I was like, yeah, this recruiting cycle, like
we doubled our budget.
We doubled our budget. The donors have been great to us this year.
That's right.
So gotta have that. Gotta have the Belvita snacks. And then, man, I'm a like when I'm on the road, like, cause you don't have time to eat lunch. Like, you don't have time to stop and eat food. So like, I'm a Snickers or Hershey chocolate guy.
Awesome. Pound it.
And then the Welch's like grape, like the Welch's snacks. Yeah. Dude, crush those. Yeah, you're like gas station.
You're like a truck driver now.
100%. That's all we are.
All right. Game on the line. 2-minute drill from your own 25. Who do you take at quarterback, Scotty Walden or Mike DeLillo?
No, I'd Mike DeLillo, 100%. 100%. Don't look at my stats, man. That's easy. I'm going with Mike. I'll stand on the sideline and coach.
Yeah, I love it. Is there a Power 5 head coach right now that you draw inspiration from?
Oh, that's a great question. He's not a head coach, but he was the head coach last year. He's a guy that I've made a connection with through the years, and I actually went up to his place last year and spent time with him, and he and I talk all the time, and he, I think, does a phenomenal job culturally. And so he actually just got the offensive coordinator job at Colorado. His name's Sean Lewis, who was the head coach at Kent State last year.
Nice.
Very impressive person, very impressive offensive mind.
Somebody to follow.
Somebody to look at. I think that he does a great job with balancing the culture. He's also coaches the quarterbacks, calls plays like I do. We're kind of off the same system, offensive tree. Yeah. And so I love picking his brain. Yeah. I think he's done an incredible job.
Nice. All right. I'm going to give you 2 sales pitch opportunities here. You want to go right in the camera. All right. So sell us right now on local families like myself. You're busy. You're doing soccer on Saturdays. You're going to birthday parties. Why should they show up at Forterra for our 5 or 6 home games this year?
Well, the number one reason is passion and inspiration.
Yeah.
And so when you bring your family to Forterra Stadium this coming fall in 2023, you're not just coming to a football game. Yes, you're going to watch football. Yes, you're going to watch players running around, but you're going to be inspired by the amount of energy and passion and enthusiasm that our coaches coach with, but also that our players play with. Yeah. And I know for me, like when I grew up and I got to see games like that where there was a varsity high school game in my hometown or whatever it was, I saw and respected guys that played with passion and played the game the right way. And I said, you know what, one day I want to be that. Yeah. And so I hope there's, families in the town of Clarksville, whether it's Lincoln Homes across the street, all the way over here to Sango, that come out to our games and that sit in those stands and their kids are truly inspired and the families are inspired by the atmosphere and the culture that you're going to feel at Forterra Stadium, because it's unlike any other. I say that all the time. We don't have to have a stadium that seats 75,000 people. It's all about the quality of people and the quality of attitude and the quality of passion that you have in that stadium. And I can tell you this, that it's unmatched. The amount, like, I don't care who we're playing, you're going to get a football team that is going to play inspired, intense football that's going to lay it all on the line for this city. We're Clarksville's team. That's how we view it. We are Clarksville's team. And if we don't go out there and play with energy and passion and inspiration, then we're wrong. And regardless of outcome, that's how we're going to play. That's how we're going to coach. And I think that people leave our stadium not just saying, oh, hey, I went to a football game, but they leave inspired by the effort of our players and the passion that our coaches put forth in this thing. And you can see it. It's visible. It's tangible. Yeah. And so you need to get your families out in the stands this fall at Forterra Stadium.
Not to mention,
so you can feel it.
It's fun, right?
Fun.
And when you've got little kids, when you're going to an SEC school, you better plan on walking a mile. No doubt. But it's really nice as a parent of a young family right now that we can say 3 p.m. kickoff. Let's leave here at X time. You're not facing too much traffic. It's a walkable distance from anywhere on campus. You walk to your seats. They've got room to maybe like run around and play and see their friends. And it's a great stadium. It's a great high quality game. I wish more families really kind of took advantage of it, because I think it's we undersell how cool of an experience game it is here.
We really do.
All right, one last question. same question in general, but why should somebody care about Austin Peay football as a whole? And they'll say they didn't go to Austin Peay. They moved here from California or whatever.
Yeah.
They're used to another type of college football.
Sure.
Why would Austin Peay move the needle for them in their life as a Clarksville citizen?
Well, I think it's because we move different. We're unique. We're cutting edge. We're not big on the status quo. You know, we're trying to break the status
right.
quo.
Yeah.
And that's
Moving
something
forward.
that, you know, I really give props to our administration on, you know, hey, thinking outside the box. And when I say that, it means that, like, you're going to get real, genuine, authentic energy, real, genuine, authentic people. And that's a very rare thing to find. And I think that when you look at our college football program as a whole here at Austin Peay State University, you're going to see, as kind of alluded to earlier, we're going to impact players from the academic realm. You know, 4 out of the 5 semesters that we've been here, we've reset the team GPA record. You know, to me, that's breaking the status quo. With over 100 players on our team, we had a 3.28 team GPA last spring. We just won a conference championship with 115 players that had over a 3.0 team GPA. Those things don't happen. You know, our president and AD are going to be on the sideline cheering for our guys. All right, our president of the university missed 2 games last year. Our AD doesn't miss any games. Like, the investment in the people, things that don't normally happen at normal universities, we are doing. We're going to be impacting the players by the athletic realm. Yes, we're going to have them prepared to play the game of football. You're going to watch a team every week that is prepared and that is going to play extremely hard. And then the third is the social. We are going to care about the mental health component in our program. That's something that's very big. We care about our players. I think the one thing that is the biggest compliment of our team is that, you know, we've put over 1,000 hours since we've been here in community service hours, serving Montgomery County, serving Clarksville. And, you know, I think each of our players respect the fact that whether they're a walk-on, whether they're the starting quarterback, we treat them all the same. Yes, do we have to spend some more time in preparation with some because they're playing more? Yes. But when they walk in our building, they know that the culture is a culture of, we're going to treat you the same as we'll treat the CEO of a company walking in, and you can feel that energy. It's real when you walk in Forterra Stadium. That's unique. That's cutting edge. That's different. And then, you know, the last is the spiritual foundation. You know, that's something that's a big pillar of our program. And I tell recruits all the time, I don't care, you know, where people are with their walk with Christ. They could just be coming into it. They could know the Bible from front to back. I surely don't know that. And I'm a sinner just like everybody else. And I don't say this pillar of our program to show, hey, how perfect we are, because I'm here admitting we are not perfect, but the person who in us is perfect. And that's a pillar of our program that we share with our players, and we make it something to where it's not where we're force feeding it down their throat, but we are going to have chapel, you know, on the field Tuesdays after practice. We are going to bring in, you know, Life Point Church that comes in every Friday night before our home games and gives a chapel service to our players. Living Hope Church with Pastor Derek comes to feed the coaches spiritually, does a coaches devotional every Thursday, you know, afternoon. We're going to be a program that impacts people well beyond the field, because we know that football is going to end one day. And I know that people on Twitter and stuff, they see this coaching staff loves to dance around in the limelight, the glamour. You know, there's so much more to that, guys. Like, that's part of it. I just believe the greatest loss in life is the loss of enthusiasm. And if you don't bring great energy every day, I have the wrong job. And, like, I can't believe I get paid to coach football. And that's why because I'm passionate about it. Yeah. Whether I was, you know, working as a dentist or working whatever, you better have passion about what you're doing. And therefore, we want to impact young men for the rest of their lives well beyond the playing field. That's what separates our program. Yeah. And that's where we're going to make a big impact, not just now, but in the future of people's lives.
Yeah, that's awesome. Killed it.
Man,
this has been fun.
Thanks for
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
Awesome as always. Thank you so much, listeners and audience, for making it to the end of this one. I'm sure it's one that you probably want to listen to twice. There's a lot of stuff that we covered. Go ahead and hit share. Send it to a friend. Send it to somebody who needs to be in Forterra Stadium when the Govs hit the field come fall this year. They're in phase 2. We're going to hit 3 and 4, and then 5 is going to be here before you know it.
That's it.
We're super excited about this great new signing class of new players who are coming to our community that we get to impact on and off the field. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the episode. We'll catch you on the next one.